Sand, fire, a kingdom on the brink of destruction, and a crew of pirates standing between an entire civilization and total collapse. The Season 3 trailer just dropped. Alabasta is here, and One Piece live action will never be the same. Let's take a second to remember where this all started. Because when Netflix first announced a live-action One Piece adaptation, the internet did what the internet always does. It panicked. We've been burned before. Dragon Ball Evolution, The Last Airbender, Death Note. The graveyard of failed anime adaptations is long, painful, and deeply personal to a lot of fans. So when the first season dropped in August 2023, nobody was ready for what actually happened. It was good. Genuinely, surprisingly, almost shockingly good. The casting was electric. Inaki Godoy brought Luffy to life with this infectious, boundless energy that felt pulled straight from the manga panels. The crew chemistry was real. The world felt alive. And Netflix didn't just get decent numbers. They got record-breaking numbers. One Piece became one of the most-watched shows on the platform that year. Eiichiro Oda himself, the man, the myth, the legend who created this entire universe, gave his seal of approval. And when Oda says something is good, you listen. Season 2 then expanded everything. More islands, more enemies, more heart. The production scaled up visibly, the storytelling got more confident, and the fan base, both longtime manga readers and brand new viewers, kept growing. But the whole time, fans had one arc on their mind. One arc they were waiting for above everything else. And now, it's finally coming. The Season 3 trailer hit the internet like a cannonball. No warning. No slow build. Just, here it is. Watch it. Deal with it. And the reaction was immediate. Comment sections exploded. Threads went wild. Clips were shared, paused, rewound, analyzed frame by frame. People who haven't watched live-action One Piece suddenly had fans in their mentions screaming at them to start. Because the trailer confirmed two massive things at once. First, Season 3 is covering the Alabasta Arc. The arc that manga readers have been holding their breath for since the very first episode of the live-action series. And second, it's coming in 2027. Now, before anyone starts counting days on a calendar, let's talk about what's actually in this trailer. Because it tells a story all by itself. And that story? It's big. If you're new to One Piece, welcome. First of all, you've chosen a great time to get involved. Here's what you need to know about Alabasta without me spoiling your entire life. Alabasta is a kingdom. A desert kingdom, ancient and beautiful, built on sand and history and the fierce pride of its people. And it is dying, not from a monster, not from a sea creature, but from something far more insidious, a conspiracy. A slow, deliberate poisoning of trust between a king and his people. A manufactured civil war, engineered in the shadows by someone with a smile, a hook, and absolutely zero conscience. Into this chaos walk the Straw Hats. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, and a princess named Vivi, who has been traveling with the crew for a long time, carrying the weight of her entire nation on her shoulders, desperately trying to get home before it's too late. This is where things get serious. This isn't a fun adventure anymore. This is war. This is politics. This is the moment the show stops being about pirates having a good time and starts being about what people are willing to sacrifice for the ones they love. And right at the center of it all is one of the greatest villains in One Piece history. Now let's talk about Crocodile. Because if the trailer gave us anything that made fans collectively hold their breath, it was the confirmed presence of the Straw Hats' most formidable enemy yet. Crocodile is not a screaming, rage-fueled monster. He's not loud. He's not impulsive. He is calm, methodical, and devastatingly intelligent. He's been operating in the shadows for years, building power, manipulating governments, pulling strings that nobody even knew existed. He is the kind of villain who has already won by the time the heroes realize they're playing his game. And facing him, a crew of pirates who, for the first time, are genuinely, measurably outmatched. This is the arc where the Straw Hats lose, where they bleed, where Luffy, unbreakable, unstoppable, grinning Luffy, gets pushed further than he's ever been pushed before. But here's the crazy part. That's exactly what makes it so extraordinary. Because Alabasta isn't just about the fight. It's about the friendship between a crew and a princess who never asked to be saved, but needed them anyway. It's about loyalty tested to its absolute limit. It's about a kingdom full of real people caught in a conflict they didn't start and can't escape. The emotional stakes in this arc are unlike anything the live-action series has attempted before, and the trailer knows it. The teaser doesn't give everything away. Smart move. But what it does show is enough to send the hype meter into orbit. The scale is immediately visible. This isn't a ship or an island village. This is a kingdom. Desert landscapes that stretch endlessly. Architecture that feels ancient and grand. Crowds. Armies. The kind of visual scope that tells you Netflix opened the budget wide on this one, that the tone is noticeably darker. The playful, swashbuckling energy of earlier seasons is still there. You can feel in the glimpses of crew banter, but there's a weight underneath everything. A tension that doesn't let go. There are shots that manga readers will recognize instantly and lose their minds over. Specific moments, framed with obvious intention, that say, loud and clear, we know what this arc means to you. We're taking it seriously. And the production design? Sand, heat, color, chaos. It looks cinematic in a way that feels like a genuine step up. Like the team watched seasons 1 and 2, took notes, and came back with something bigger. Fans have been waiting for this since the very first episode. In the manga community, Alabasta is considered a cornerstone, not just of One Piece, but of shonen storytelling as a concept. It's the arc that proved Oda could do emotional devastation just as well as action spectacle. The arc that made people cry for a princess, a kingdom, and a crew that refused to give up. For live-action fans who came in fresh with Season 1, they've been hearing about Alabasta for 2 years. Every interview, every fan discussion, every "when does it get good" conversation eventually circles back to the same answer. Just wait for Alabasta. Now, they don't have to wait for the arc. They just have to wait for 2027. Which, look, is a long time. We know. Nobody is pretending otherwise. But here's the thing about that wait point. 2027 is not a delay. It's a statement. The gap between seasons in a production of this scale isn't wasted time. It's building time. It's the difference between a show that rushes its most important arc and a show that gives it the space it actually deserves. Look at what the extra production time did between seasons 1 and 2. The improvement in visual effects, in set design, in the confidence of the performances, it was visible and real. Now multiply that with an arc that requires desert kingdoms, large-scale battle sequences, a massive ensemble of new characters, and one of the most emotionally demanding finales in the entire manga. You want them to take their time. You need them to take their time. Because if they get Alabasta right, if they nail the emotional core, the villain, the final confrontation, this stops being a good adaptation. It becomes something people talk about for years. Now, no show is perfect, and the live-action One Piece, for all its success, has had its rough edges. Some characters in earlier seasons felt slightly underdeveloped, side roles that deserved more screen time but got squeezed by pacing demands. Some emotional beats landed a little softer than they should have, rushing past moments that the manga let breathe. Alabasta has so many characters, so many moving pieces. The challenge for the writers and directors will be balancing the political complexity with the crew's personal journey, keeping everything tight without losing the heart of what makes this arc legendary. And Crocodile. Getting Crocodile right is everything. He needs to be menacing without being cartoonish, calculating without being distant. The casting and performance of that role could make or break the entire season. But based on what the trailer suggests, they know what's at stake, and they're swinging for it. Here's where we are. The trailer is out. The arc is confirmed. The release window is set. One Piece live-action Season 3 is coming. And it's bringing with it the most beloved, most emotionally powerful, most important arc in the early chapters of this story. A kingdom in crisis. A villain without mercy. A crew pushed to their absolute limit. And a princess who just wants to go home. This is the arc that manga readers have been guarding like a secret for years, whispering about it, hyping it quietly to anyone who asked, does it get better? This is their answer. Loud, cinematic, and finally visible. 2027 feels far. But great things always do. And when that season drops, when Luffy stands up in the sand one more time, when the crew refuses to quit, even when every logical reason says they should, you're going to remember this moment. The moment you watched the trailer. The moment it became real. The desert is waiting. The kingdom needs saving. And the Straw Hats are already on their way.